Good day everyone, welcome to a new video in which we're going to discuss what's going to happen with Bitcoin in this cycle. Where are we? What's going to occur? What are the likely scenarios in general? That's all options for debate, as there's a group of people that are expecting a bear market to start, while others are expecting a super cycle or anything else to happen in which Bitcoin is going to accelerate throughout 600 to 800k. And that's all because of people not knowing on how to value Bitcoin in terms of other assets, not knowing how to value altcoins. And if you're looking at altcoins, they all make a massive breakout, just like we have seen in 2016 and 2017. Are those altcoins going to survive? Definitely not. Most of them are just going to zero, as it's just full of hype, sentiment, market manipulation. And the only incentive is to push the price to a very high level, through which the actual founders can make money out of it, and probably also the influencers pushing them. So always stay critical, but the current value of the cryptocurrency market is only 2 trillion. If you compare that to the dot-com bubble, in which in 2000 we had one, in which many scams occurred, many just empty companies were listed and they just ran up to a value that was just beyond even realistic. That dot-com cycle was about 10 to 12 trillion. If you calculate it to the nowadays value through the increase of money supply and inflation, etc., you would come to an estimate of 25 to 35 trillion. In that regard, having 2 trillion on Web 3.0 markets, including the fact that Bitcoin is the only sound money that we have, and gold being valued at like 10 to 12 trillion as well, we are still very early. And there are some key indicators that you should be watching, and there are also some very important indicators to watch on the markets in itself. And we're going to discuss that today, so let's hop to the charts and let's hop to the information that we have. As right now, if you're looking at this chart, you can see that it's a vertical price movement. And that could maybe confuse you in the fact that it's just a very vertical chart. No retests, no corrections, did not retest any of those weekly levels. But if you look at anything that happened in 2016, it shows the exact same figure, in which this is just a new cycle that's happening. So therefore, looking at such a chart and making an observation and decision based on this data right now and nothing more is just too simplistic, and you should avoid anything like it. But when you get to data, you want to get to on-balance information. And in this case, you're watching the exchange balance that is from Glassnode. It's giving you information that is very much interesting to keep an eye on. What does it show us? It shows us the price of Bitcoin in terms of the dollar. That's the black line. And the orange line is the percentage balance on exchanges regarding Bitcoin. Now, we did see that it was running up in the previous years. That's also because of the fact that there became more exchanges, or more exchanges came around, through which more Bitcoins were placed on the exchange to trade on, etc. But right now we can see that similarly to the first stage of the bull cycle in 2016 and 2017, the balance on the exchanges are dropping down. So we do see that in 2016, from July to January 2017, the balance on the exchanges was dropping, and now since the crash in March 2020, we do see that it's dropping down massively, which means that people or institutions or anyone else are buying Bitcoin to put it on a hard wallet to invest or save their money in that asset, which means that the overall circulating supply that's needed to trade Bitcoin is decreasing. So now, why are altcoins running up significantly? Well, they can run up heavily, especially if 90% of the coins are staked. That means that the circulating supply is 10% of the total. Same concept lies around with Bitcoin. 4 million Bitcoin are lost. Still 3 million are ready to be mined. And then a large portion, especially if you calculate this amount, is just there for an investment, which means that the overall supply of Bitcoin is very limited on the exchange in itself. Keynote, the balances are dropping down on the exchange says to me that we're still in the first stage of this bull cycle. Says to me that we're still starting up with this bull cycle and that the price of Bitcoin is going to accelerate way higher. Does that mean that we can have a corrective move from 30 to 40%? That always happens. That also happened in 2017. But the fundamentals and the investment approach that we have in the inflationary system that we are living in is significant, and therefore, especially since the last week, we have been dropping down significantly in the balance exchange, percentage balance on exchanges. I think that we're just going to continue running. And because of Bitcoin running up significantly, altcoins will do that as well. And when you look at Ethereum, for instance, and the on-chain balance information, you can see that it's also dropping down significantly since the crash in March 2020. So what's the cycle right now? We do know that altcoins, and I'm going to make a video about it tomorrow, we do know that altcoins are still pretty much bottomed out in Bitcoin pair. So if Bitcoin against US dollar is going to be relatively calm, people will be trading altcoins to make more money and to make more Bitcoin. That means that at some point when altcoins are accelerating really fast, people will flip over towards Bitcoin. And when people are selling their altcoins, their profits to Bitcoin, it would keep the buy pressure up on Bitcoin against USD, pushing the price of Bitcoin even further up as the demand is just significant. So I think, especially given the fact that altcoins are still eager to run, we are on the beginning of a new bull cycle, or we're still in it, and altcoins are just going to pace up to the level where Bitcoin is right now. And then we also have some other information. So if you want to declare a new cycle top, etc., I think first thing you should be doing is putting it on logarithmic scale. And then you want to include the 21-week MA, as that's the critical indicator to watch in the previous cycle, as well as it kept above it and through the entire cycle. In this case, we see that we did not see any test yet, but right now we're consolidating. So the chances are there that we're going to have a test of the 21-week MA, have a sideways action before we start to break out. If Bitcoin does not have a corrective move right now, the assumption that we get a 2013 to 2014 cycle are significantly increasing. In that perspective, and now I'll just describe a few scenarios. The first one is that Bitcoin is going to consolidate right now for 1 week more and then breaks out upwards to possibly anything around 100k. That would mean that the price is very vertical, or have been moving very vertical, just like we have been seeing in 2013. Then altcoins will follow suit, and at some stage we'll probably get a move like we have been seeing here. So if Bitcoin makes that move to 100k, I think we just consolidate for a little while, have a massive alt season like we have been doing already, and then crashes down significantly to retest the 60k zone before it starts to continue. And then we just get this grind, and then the entire year we have a massive bull cycle. So then we are just in this 2016 scenario that we have. The second scenario that I'm looking at is that we correct some more, have this sideways action just like we did here before we start to accelerate. In the meantime, we just have altcoins doing well. Even then, just an alt season. And then once the altcoins are done with their run and Bitcoin is ready to compress or to break out, that's the moment that Bitcoin is going to accelerate and altcoins are going to drop down. So right now, I think Bitcoin is just in a bull cycle. Betting on a bear market is not the right approach right now. So I believe that we're just consolidating. Whether we get a 2013 to 2014 scenario, who knows? All I know is that altcoins are going to run significantly, and I'll make a video about that tomorrow. So do not forget to tune in. I'll see you again tomorrow and have a wonderful day.